What's up, guys? Thanks for watching another Jaguars United film breakdown. I'm super pumped because today we're breaking down Michigan edge rusher Aidan Hutchinson. Projected to be one of the top picks in the draft, and his film speaks for itself. But before we get into that, make sure you follow all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, and also subscribe to the channel. That way you get notifications when we do other film breakdowns and when we do live shows. All right, well, let's jump right into it. All right, so before we jump into the film, just a couple things about Aidan Hutchinson. At 6'6", 265, I mean, he's a pretty big guy. A lot of scouting reports says he's maxed out his strength. I don't know what that means at 6'6", 265, but he has 62 total tackles last year, 14 sacks. That's obviously the number that jumps out at a lot of people. 2 forced fumbles. In 2020, he was hurt, didn't play. 2019, also had 68 tackles and 4.5 sacks. So the guy gets tackles. Like he's associated as this like sack monster, which he is. But he helps the team in all areas. I mean, he can get tackles in the run game. He makes plays at the edge and in the flats. I mean, he can do it all. I mean, you're in a 4.7 40, so he's a pretty quick guy for, knowing like how big he is. He just does things that helps the whole team. Like he sets a solid edge. He doesn't let his outside shoulder get blocked. He has nonstop effort. Like he will never give up. I mean, he will go and go. I mean, a lot of his sacks were from collapsed pockets and then just his effort getting him the sack. He lines up mostly at the wide 9 technique edge spot, but there was a couple plays where he did line up on the interior. I really like that he's an exercise science guy. I mean, that the exercise science guys always seem to like kind of have it figured out. They're smart guys. That Aidan Hutchinson's a smart guy. He's flexible. He's strong. He's high football IQ. All of those things. His first contact pop is really impressive. Best thing about him, though, very instinctive with his pass rush moves. He knows which ones to do in what situations. Playing with Mike McDonald in Michigan, he was able to kind of do a lot of different things. But he's incredibly fast off the snap. He's comfortable rushing from either side. Had a lot more production on the right than the left, but can really do it all. And you're going to see here on the film his full range of tools that he can use, and in situations where he just dominates the opponent. Well, enough about that. Let's just jump into the film. Now, I know a lot has been said about Aidan Hutchinson's lack of production in the semifinal game against Georgia, but really, I don't put all of the blame on Hutchinson. Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator for the Wolverines, who I actually like, and I think he'll be good in Baltimore next year, I didn't do a great job in this game planning. Georgia obviously had a game plan of getting the ball out quick, hitting the flats with it, and Michigan never really seemed to adjust. They couldn't defend the big plays. Todd Monken really did a great job in his play calling. It seemed like they almost stayed away from Aidan Hutchinson, to be honest, but a few times they did go his way. We'll see on this first play, a run play here. See, we have Aidan Hutchinson. He's going to be lined up in the 9 technique. He's out here a lot. He's a 9 tech player. He can line up on the inside, but he's out here a lot. He's going to be on the outside shoulder of this tight end here. And this tight end, I mean, McDonald's a good blocker. I mean, he had a good game blocking Hutchinson at times. Not really sure why they're in such a pinch formation here with their defense D-line, but maybe with this force player here, they're just trying to maybe they knew it was going to be a run. But anyways, Georgia's going to come out in their 11 personnel, 1 tight end, twins out to the right. And when we see what happens here, Aidan Hutchinson, well, we'll play it through once, and then we'll go back and we'll take a look at how he was able to be so successful here. He's so quick. So one thing I talked about in the intro is like he's very instinctual with his moves here, right? You're going to see just this little false step to the inside, transferring his weight to that inside foot is going to allow him to create some space because this tight end is going to totally think he's going inside. And because of that, he's quick enough to swim on the outside and just get around him and forces the tight end to totally whiff the block here. I mean, look, he's got a good set of moves. I mean, something that definitely separates him from Trevon Walker is Aidan Hutchinson, I mean, has a tool bag of moves that he can use. And this is one of them. Again, a little swim move, make the tight end think he's going inside and goes to the outside. He's able to fold back in on the play. And he's strong enough to, I mean, tackle the pulling guard into the running back. I mean, this is strength right here. And when you combine his speed and strength, he helps you in all aspects of the game. Like I was kind of talking about it in the intro. Like he does more than just get sacks. He's known for that, but he's a good player. He's really good against the run. Some of his scouting report says he needs to work on his run defense, but I think he's pretty good. I mean, I think he's done a lot here. This Georgia offensive line was good, and makes quick work of this run play right here. Now, obviously, putting up the big sack numbers, Aidan Hutchinson's going to be really proficient at getting after the quarterback. I mean, he's got every move he has, right? He can beat you with the bull rush, he can beat you with the spin move, he can beat you with the swim move, and we're going to see all three of those in this video. In this first one, we're going to see his bull rush here, right? So, strong guy, real strong guy, workout warrior. And here you're going to see why his strength helps him out here, right? He's going to line up again in the 9 technique. There's no tight end, but, still out there. And, I mean, this is an interesting formation here. Again, Mike McDonald, again, with something interesting here. Typically, you have a defensive end, or defensive tackle lined up, in one of these, A gaps slots here. But here they have a linebacker walked down. So, essentially he would be responsible for this A gap here, and you're going to have your tackles kind of playing a little bit wider. They're going to send a blitz, but they're actually going to pull the linebacker out in coverage here. But watch Aidan Hutchinson here at the bottom here. Thank you, Fox, for that. Coming in, one of the things about him is that, in the scouting reports, is that he rarely gets stalemated, meaning he rarely gets, caught up by tackles. He's always running his feet. He's always getting after the quarterback. Now, why Northwestern came out in this, split backs gun formation, I have no clue. But you're going to see Aidan Hutchinson able to keep his outside shoulder free, keep his legs running, and then get after the quarterback. His initial contact has some pop. I mean that's one thing is there's times where he lowers his head a little too much because he's really trying to just force that contact. But when he's able to keep his eyes downfield and keep his eyes on the pocket, I mean he does a great job of collapsing the pocket here. I mean that's truly your goal as a 9 technique in pass rush is you're just really trying to collapse the pocket. And his high effort led to a lot of sacks. But his ability to collapse the pocket led to a high number of sacks from other teammates on his defensive line. That's something that gets overlooked a lot by Hutchinson. I mean, a lot of people, like to bring out that his teammate had a bunch of sacks, so everyone was getting sacks, and they couldn't double team Hutchinson. When in reality, his ability to collapse the pocket and high motor, just kind of force quarterbacks into the arms of other people. So his bull rush will probably stand up against tackles in the NFL. Because he is so strong. So, like this play here, get after the quarterback, collapse that pocket, and let's go. All right, so we just saw his bull rush there against Northwestern. Now here against Washington, we're going to see his swim move. And again, just his ability to accelerate, his ability to change direction, speed up when he needs to, all of that is on display here. So we're going to have Aidan Hutchinson going to be at the top of your screen here, 9 technique. Again, Michigan in a strange formation. You got a guy in a 2-eye here. You got a guy in a shade here. I mean, what makes it strange is because Washington is lined up in a 21 personnel, 2 backs, a tight end. So this is spelling run all the way. And you're basically telling Aidan Hutchinson he's responsible for this gap, and this gap. I mean, that's a lot for one guy to do. Now, I mean, this D lineman could move over and help, but still, I mean, you are asking him to essentially 2-gap here if there's a run play, which can be expected in this 21 personnel. But Hutchinson, he's gonna very technical player. So if we watch him here, this is very important, right? A lot of guys fly upfield. A lot of guys get washed down into the run on play action. I mean, he does his job perfectly here. He assesses the situation. He reads his keys. He keeps his gap integrity until he sees the play action, right? He kind of comes downhill here, still making sure he has gap integrity. If anything comes through his gap here and the B gap or the C gap, then he's going to do his little swim move here on the back and get after the quarterback here. High effort makes the sack. But if you look, I mean, again, he does the same thing. The hesitation, the acceleration, the swim move. I mean, he's able to beat this block because of his speed in and out, right? He's just quicker than this back can react to block him. And that's the thing is that there's going to be situations, I mean, this is a very common play in the NFL. This is a very NFL typical play where you're going to ask your back to block the backside edge. And he can do things like this. He can make moves around players. He can make you think he's going one way. But what's really great about this play is he does his job exactly perfectly at every situation here, right? Gap integrity at the beginning, swim move outside of the edge, collapses the pocket, and then doesn't give up on the play and cleans up the first sack. I mean, this is what you want. I mean, this is why the guy might get drafted number 1 is because he's able to do everything here on this play. I mean, he's instinctual. He knows what his assignment is, and then when he realizes that he needs to make a play, he goes and makes a play. Uses his athleticism, speed, and hustle to get there. So just a great example of the swim move and doing everything right, and leads to a cleanup sack here. All right, so final pass rush move here I wanted to show is the spin move. I mean, the guy's quick, he's athletic, got to be able to have a spin move, especially if you're going to be an NFL caliber all-star edge rusher in the NFL here. So, again, same game against Washington here, and I can't get enough of these Mike McDonald alignments. What's even going on here? I mean, we got a guy in the shade, we got a guy in the 4-eye, guy in the 6, and then we have a linebacker walked down who's not even going to end up blitzing. He's going to bail out. Then Hutchinson again in this wide 9, he's going to be responsible for pretty much half of the field. Interesting call here, but hey, it worked out. So credit where credit's due. So Hutchinson's going to initially kind of get hung up a little bit, realizing the quarterback steps up into the pocket, and he's going to have a spin move that releases himself. Yeah, I mean, is this technically a coverage sack? Yeah, you could probably call this a coverage sack if you wanted to. But, I mean, he's able to get free, and he doesn't give up on the play. Again, effort, effort, effort. That's what this guy is. He's all effort. And when you combine effort with speed and strength, he's able to make plays like this and able to do things. And just, again, job number 1, collapse the pocket. It's what he does. He comes in here, doesn't give up, collapses the pocket, and eventually, because the quarterback was going to pull it and run, Hutchinson's able to get a tackle on the backfield and register another sack here. But the quick spin move allows him to get his arms free, gets the tackle's hands off of him, and that allows him to collapse back inside the pocket and make a play. Not the greatest blocking, kind of like the blockers kind of gave up here, but look, again, this is what he brings to the table. I mean, this is what you're going to get out of him. I mean, this is why he's going to be drafted very high, and you hear all the things about, his ceiling's not that high. Well, I don't know if he needs a high ceiling. I mean, when your effort is like this and you kind of have all the moves in your tool bag to be able to create separation from a tackle, and you can collapse the pocket as good as he can, I mean, you don't have to be a freak athlete the way some of these other guys are. So he's going to make a team real happy just because of his skill set and everything that he can do, and the things that just kind of set him apart, or how instinctual he goes to these moves. That's a big thing amongst edge rushers, is a lot of times they'll just kind of pick a move and then do it. He kind of seems to know when to do the right one, when to spin, when to bull rush, when to swim move. Like, he knows kind of when to do it off instincts, and that's why he's a football player. And that's why he's a guy you want on your team and in your locker room, because he has those instincts. All right, last play here, and this is just, again, going to showcase his effort, going to showcase why he's so difficult to block and why he's going to be successful in the NFL. We have him here again, always stand up, always out of the 9. I mean, he did line up a little bit on the inside. I mean, he has the versatility to line up at one of these inside positions. Just kind of was obviously more effective out here, so that's where they lined him up. Out here on the edge, and this is kind of later in the game, and Michigan's only going to end up sending 3. Penn State's in their 10 personnel, empty set, trips right, not empty set, 10 personnel, trips to the right. And, I mean, this is, you're licking your chops if you're Aidan Hutchinson at this point. I mean, this is like total sack play right here. But what I like here is, we'll watch, the forced fumble here, great play and all that. But if we start over from the beginning here, like the right tackle gets put in a pretty bad spot here because, again, obvious passing down. So Hutchinson has the ability to kind of assess the situation and make a play and pick a move that would be most effective in this situation. So, I mean, you can see when the tackle gets here. Let me get it right here. He's kind of waiting for Hutchinson to declare what he's going to do. He doesn't know if he's going to try to fold back inside. He doesn't know if he's going to try to beat him with speed on the outside. He doesn't know if a spin move's coming. He doesn't know if a swim move's coming. He doesn't know if a bull rush is coming. And because of that, because he has that versatility, he kind of has to sit here and catch Hutchinson, and that's not a spot you want to be in. You want to be attacking when you're a tackle. And so because he has to catch him, Hutchinson's going to just, again, use the contact, the pop right off the snap, fold back in, collapse the pocket. He's going to end up, forcing a fumble because he ends up just efforting his way to the quarterback. But again, he gets himself free because, he has good bend here. You can see the good bend in his hips. He's able to turn the corner right there and then keep speed and go after the quarterback. That's a very underrated thing. When they talk about players having bend, it's basically how fast can they go from this direction and then back to this direction, getting around the tackle here. So, I mean, look, that's what makes this guy so difficult to block is he can hit you with any move. He's not going to give up on the play, and he's really strong. The big guy, too. I mean, 6'6". I mean, that's a tough guy. He's a tough guy to block. And you saw it in his stats this year. You saw it over and over again. I mean, he absolutely dominated that Washington game. He had a great game here against Penn State. Just going to wreak havoc on these pockets here, and quarterbacks are going to have to try to stay away from him. Your best bet's going to be what Georgia did and just throw the ball quick. Keep it away from him, quick plays, and don't let him disrupt your offensive game plan, and just do everything you can to keep it away from him. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the video. Tell me where you think he'll get drafted or how he'll be in the NFL when he eventually does get drafted. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you can get up to dates on all the other film breakdowns that we're doing, and we're going to keep them going. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys later.